Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. Sorry it's taking so long. Um, didn't have much. I really didn't have much time these past few weeks for to make a new video. Plus, I had like 2 or 3 very light weeks. Uh, some comics were late as well. So really, I've got like maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of books. I think some actually date, yeah, from the end of July. So I don't really know how I'm gonna get through all of them. So I'll just go from the newest to the oldest and just give my quick thoughts on them. I also got something completely different I want to show. So I'll do that probably at the end of the books of the comics. So from this week, we'll start off with Action Comics number 43. Um, it was a very interesting book. It's the arc in Action Comics actually takes place in Metropolis, and so we learned that the cop that is heading the Metropolis Police against Clark's neighbors is actually a shadow creature that's been showing up since this arc began, the whole truth thing began. We actually learned their origin in last month's Superman. But actually, we learn more than just that. It's definitely a targeted attack against Superman, so it's very clear it's very clear that once I get to the Superman issue, who is actually the brains behind this attack against Superman, this very personal attack against Superman. But we find out that even that the aggression actually comes from all the way to the mayor's office. There's a big reveal about the Metropolis mayor at the end that is connected with the shadow creatures. Um, this is a really early issue, so somehow uh, this shadow beasts, whatever you want to call them, these monsters, uh, are actually sort of like organic beings. They're like people, but they're somehow changed or transformed into these creatures, these monsters that you know, that are attacking Superman. Um, what else? What else? Finally, Superman is showing that he could be a source of inspiration as well. All of his neighbors are really, following Superman, even though he doesn't have any powers. Yet doesn't have any powers. All these people are really, going to protect their neighborhood against these aggressions, and they're really following Superman despite the fact because he's one of them. At the end of the day, he's a neighbor. They recognize that he's helped. Um, so they really are following Superman. The art again by Aaron Kuder, great art. I really like it. There are places where it really feels that it's really packed. That it's not just big flashy panels. Um, so yeah, great art. Next up, Batman Superman number 2023. I actually picked up the bombshell variant just because I thought it was cute. don't usually. It actually breaks the pattern for the cards for the Superman books. Start something different. So Superman goes underground and discovers that this issue actually deals in part with the aftermath of Greg Pak's first arc on Action Comics, but also deals with the aftermath of some stuff going on in Batman. Um, Ukur actually is leading, the inmates of Gotham City Prison who fell uh, underground after the whole Batman Joker thing in Endgame. Now they're actually living underground. Ukur is leading them. Superman, we learn why Superman's been acting the way he has. Somehow angry and frustrated and all and doing really stupid things at times. Acting somewhat impulsively, and that's because uh, he feels less now than compared to his Justice League teammates. That he doesn't have any powers anymore, a very small amount of power, and he feels like he's less than they are. So that's why he's doing all this job for Superman stuff, even though he doesn't have his powers and he's essentially risking his life. Um, I thought that was brilliant um, because this Superman hasn't really dealt with major consequences um, or major events in his own personal life. The previous version of Superman had to deal with a lot of stuff uh, as he became a much better hero. The very controversial John Byrne's final arc post crisis was, he killed the Phantom Zone criminals, and that had an emotional and psychological toll on Superman. So this is sort of like the same thing. It's a bit controversial. A lot of Superman fans don't like it. Some do. Uh, and Superman is dealing with something he has never dealt with before. If we go to the previous version of Superman, he's a much more capable hero and he can handle himself very well without any powers. But this Superman has never really experienced that sort of thing before, so it seems so far that he's dependent a lot on his powers. So now he's really depending a lot on himself and his wits and his own, you know, his own humanity. Um, to a point, I think this Superman sort of compares to the Silver Age, Bronze Age Superman, where it was more about the super and less about the man, which was an emphasis given in the previous version of Superman before this one. And so this one so far has been more about the super, as we hardly ever seen, Clark Kent or his supporting cast, which are an important core to the character. That's actually the key to the character and to grounding him, and that's his supporting cast. This Superman doesn't have that because DC decided that they wanted him to be more isolated, more alien. So it does feel kind of stupid to me that they decided to ground Superman by taking away his powers uh, and additionally revealing his identity when it's really important. And I'll get into it a little bit later. That the thing that grounds Superman that makes him relatable is the Clark Kent part, which he relates to normal people. But I'll get into a little bit that. So it was a very interesting story. Gordon actually goes and asks, goes to Metropolis to ask about Clark. Perry White is like completely mad at Clark. He doesn't really trust him anymore. Lewis, on the other hand, is still believes in Clark. Uh, he understands Clark and what he does. Uh, so you know that sort of makes Gordon trust Superman a bit more. Um, so I thought it was a pretty cool issue. The art, I really like the art. Then we have two artists. Yeah, I like the art. Great issue. Um, Next up, Green Arrow number 43. So this concludes the first arc. Thanks to Emiko, uh, Green Arrow, Oliver is able to defeat the drones with little help from his tech guy, Henry Five. Emiko goes searching for Oliver with the wolf that dog wolf that Oliver rescued. He Oliver ends up realizing that um, he can't do it alone, and that he does need help. And there's a really nice comparison to the fact that a quiver has a lot of arrows, and so he's got a lot of people around him that could help him, and that he can't really do what he's doing alone. So yeah, I'm really liking this new tech on Green Arrow. There are a bit of hints of a little more of a horror twist to it at times, I think. Um, um, but yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I have a book to go through. JLU just designated number 12. Actually, I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be a 3-issue arc. This is a 2-issue arc actually. So it ends up the first mission of the sort of new Justice League United with sacrifices. They're able to defeat the first Breaker. That's what they're called. These anomalies. The Breakers, who are infecting reality. They were able to destroy this sort of gooey, horrible island that was coming and you know infest, um, um, coming into to the to their dimension. I guess that's the way to say, and causing harm to it. But the victory didn't come without a sacrifice. So Swamp Thing actually seems to have died. Um, Poison Ivy is totally, you know, sad about it, angry, hurt, and she said she's going to help try to restore something. So they really don't. They actually, the heroes that let her go. At the same time, we're getting hints for the next mission, and the issue ends up with Stargirl recruiting Batgirl for their next mission. What else I can say? Didn't say last time about the art. I just really liking it. Issue 43 of Green Lantern. This one was the book that came late for for me from last week. This actually didn't arrive until like about a week ago on Saturday. I went to the shop on Friday, so I didn't get the chance to pick it up until now, until yesterday, Friday. Um, so I only had like another book and a back issue last week. So, anyways, Relic is back, as we can see from the cover image. Um, he actually Hal actually goes to see Relic to ask him. He went all under disguise to ask him about what's going on with this sort of planets turning into stone. Relic says there's like a crack uh, in the source wall, but he's not really sure you know what's causing it until he remembers Black Hand's appearance, uh, Black Hand showing up, uh, and actually being somewhat infested with the source wall. We get like a little interlude with Black Hand showing himself in a planet trying to raise the dead, but instead once again kills another planet by turning it into stone. And when Hal learns that it was Black Hand, Black Hand is involved. He gets all distraught. Uh, um, Virgo, the prince that Hal rescued in issue number 41, uh, tries to help Hal just in case, and Hal went out to face Relic without the gauntlet, so Virgo tries the gauntlet on, and it affects him really badly because he doesn't have the willpower to control it. But that sort of revealed Hal's identity as a Green Lantern, and they have to get away fast because Relic's after them. Uh, I'm actually liking this new direction for a bit, that we're having here in the book. The ship, the interaction between the ship and Hal is great, sort of like one of those buddy comedies sort of thing, sort of like there's some back and forth between them. I think it could get a little bit better. I still think it's a bit at times sort of stiff, but um, you know, Vendetta is really trying hard to create that sort of relationship with Thiem and Hal, with the ship and Hal, but it still needs a little work. Um, I think at times it does need a little bit of work. But yeah, still enjoying Green Lantern. So the other book I picked up, and this one I did pick up last week, is Barbed Wire issue number 2. Love the Adam Hughes covers. So last issue kind of set things up a bit. This issue picks things up as well. But it's sort of like a different story in a sense that this standalone story where Barb is actually trying to get her bounty, um, which is part of a motorcycle gang. Everybody's when she tries to arrest this guy, the whole gang goes after Barb and her whole team. There, she's able to collar the guy, but learns that the police station is full. The prison is full with a bunch of gang groups of gangs that the oops, Um, and again, with Wyvern Stormblood, this big guy that showed up in the first issue, is also in the police station. And he sets the whole every criminal free, causes havoc, gets everyone free. You know, Barbara, she's just, you know, not having a good day. Um, she goes back to her bar, and one of the gang leaders from that showed up last issue sort of somewhat threatens her to stay away from messing up with the gangs. Then the other gang leader that showed up last issue actually asked her to go after this guy, this Viking looking guy, which she finally decides to do so. So um, I'm really enjoying this book. Um, yeah, um, gotta keep moving on because I'm over 20 minutes now. Uh, the back issue from last week was Superboy number 8, 0 hour tie-in. The reason I picked it up, this had been in my small shop in the smaller shop for a while, and I actually remember seeing a few panels from this issue in comic book resources. I don't remember in what context, but for some reason I just decided to pick it up because it's basically Superboy versus Superboy. So this is the actual, Silver Age Superboy, the Earth One Superboy, if you wanna, the pre-crisis Superboy, who shows up in post-crisis Smallville, and the whole time. And not only that is 0 hour. Finally, the last two books. First up, Superman number 42. Uh, this issue, as you can tell from the cover, Lois finally proves that Clark is Superman. So she learns his identity, or if she suspected something, she proves it. She proves it here. Uh, that was the less impactful part of the issue for me, because this is like the third time that's happened with Lois learning Superman's identity. The first time was, of course, back in the 90s, just when Clark proposed to Lois. A few issues after the proposal, he reveals himself to Lois, and Clark is Superman. Uh, Not too long ago, they did it before Doom, that Lois learns Clark's identity. Then after Doom, she forgot, and now she learns it again. So it's really lost its impact. If they were going for a big, shocking reveal, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all because we've gone through this, like I said, 3 times before. Um, but we do learn one of the reasons, or probably the main reason, why Lois will go on to reveal Clark's identity to the world, and why Clark himself is being attacked in the other books. Why the attack is personal. So we meet this group, this guy, Hoarder Root, that's his name. He runs like a big tech company, big internet company. I know that the writer describes him as a bit of a evil version of um, oh, the guy that runs Facebook. I forgot his name. Anyways, he's more like runs a site much more similar to WikiLeaks. He learns um, the secrets from everybody, and he uses that knowledge to either blackmail them or have them do stuff for him. So we met this guy the previous issue as he texts Clark, as he's texting Clark. So we learned he actually has like this. It's kind of like in this floating city, of the clouds, uh, and all the people that work there are actually forced to work for him because he knows their deepest, darker secrets. So if they don't work for him, he's going to reveal said secrets, and it might affect them personally. Um, so the first thing that I thought when I read this issue was that certain plot points reminded me of a very early Luther story from the Golden Age, where Luther pretended to be this benevolent space traveler. He kidnaps, prominent men, and he's trying to use all the information he gets from them regarding business and so on and so forth, economy, business, and science for his own benefits, which is what Hoarder Root does. He actually, learns secrets from people, and he uses that to his advantage. But there's that other thing that reminded me of that movie, Sky High, I think it's called. That one with the superhero school. Where they actually go to the floating school through a flying bus, which we get here. We get a flying bus that takes them to the Hoarder HQ. But I don't see anything too original coming out of it. I think, um, I mean, it's interesting to explore that whole idea of secret identities, but I think that the writer doesn't really understand the purpose of the secret identity. At least the purpose for Superman having a secret identity. Okay, sure, we live in a time, in an era where there's hardly anything that can be hidden from us. You know, so there's a lot of information out there, and it doesn't take long for if you do your homework and you know how to do it, you can actually get all this information on people. But the whole idea of Superman having a secret identity is to ground Superman. That's the whole purpose of it. Back in the 70s, there's this 4-issue arc that came out in 1976 that explores the same idea of why Clark needs a secret identity. Why is it so important for Kal-El to be both Superman and Clark Kent? And it's very simple. Clark Kent grounds Superman, grounds Kal-El, because he gets the opportunity to interact with people. How can he be a hero and be the world's greatest hero if he's not on the same level as the people he's trying to protect? That's why, at least for Superman, that secret identity is important to ground him, because the minute he loses that, he becomes Superman 24/7. And so there are expectations for Superman. So if he can have the time to be Clark Kent, to relate to people, to live a normal life, he'll be on the clock all the time. And so it's not because he's an alien, it's not big, it's because it balances the man and the hero. Superman is the hero. Superman is Kal-El using his abilities for the greater good, while the Clark Kent part, Kal-El was raised as Clark Kent by the Kents, and that kept him in touch with people and knows what people uh, go through. He may have all his superpowers, and he may not exactly be. He is human. He is a human being. He is a human. He's not from Earth. He's an alien, and he does have these great abilities. But Clark Kent is probably the most important part for the most important side of Superman of Kal-El, because he relates to people. He knows what people need. He knows where he can help. Uh, the reporter part of him, where there it was as you know a reporter for the Daily Planet, or a news anchor for GBS, uh, that always you know gave it helped Superman do his work as a hero, but at the same time he just could chill out and relax and not be on the clock all the time. So to me, like I said earlier, before, to me it's not silly yet to try to grant Clark Superman by taking his powers away, when it's the people around Clark and Lewis and Jimmy and Cat Grant and Perry White and whoever else is around. That's what grants Superman. That's what I think makes Superman very interesting. The people around him that made him be a better hero. I'm repeating myself, but yeah. So like I said, nothing very original. I think we're going a little bit of the homage to the Superman history. In issue 41, got the whole Norvell reference, which is based on a character from Action Comics #2 that has actually been used a few times after, referencing the Golden Age Superman. Here, like I said, I had a deja vu of a Luthor story from 1942. Actually, it was like, I believe, Action Comics #41 from 1942, somewhere around there. I could be a mistake making the numbers, but there's truly nothing all that interesting. I think the most interesting part is we actually learn the origin of the shadow creatures. And finally, Flash Annual #4, extra pages. With this new, this is actually upping their quality on their books as well. The stock from the 399 books and the 499 books, as I mentioned, thinking my last video, are a lot thicker, so the books look thicker. They actually feel heavier. Anyways, onto the story. So basically, this is the origin of Professor Zoom's uh, gang. So they're all connected to the Speed Force, and he actually gathered them from across time, starting with the year of 1520, which actually features an Aztec girl as the first recruit, which is that's very cool, and the fact that they actually had the girl talking Nahuatl, or at least English translated from Nahuatl, which is the Aztec language, the Mexica language. Uh, so I actually kind of learn how vile Zoom is, because he actually manipulates everyone to follow him. Um, um, to follow him uh, in his quest to destroy the Flash. Um, he seems to be a nice and friendly person to them, but in reality, he actually created the situations that made him made them side with him. Uh, so it's pretty much an origin issue. It does add to the overall Zoom arc that's going on in the Flash right now. The artist is I never heard of him. I think it's pretty new. I like the art quite a bit. Not as creative in the very traditional in the layouts until like maybe in the end where he does go a little bit crazy. His name is Dazo. Bong Dazo. Bong Dazo. That's the name of the artist. Um, but yeah, very very interesting story. So those are my comics for this week, and I'm sorry if it's a very long video. I'll quickly end up with showing this book, Harper Lee's, Gotham Watchman. I read a few reviews on it, very controversial. Definitely, there's a lot of controversy regarding the quality of the book, regarding the story behind the book. I read, To Kill a Mockingbird. I want to say, you know, at least a couple of years ago. So when I learned about this book, I really wanted to get it. Um, so I I went to look for it a few weeks, almost a week almost after it went on sale. The version in Spanish came out that same week. I actually want to read it in English, so I found it yesterday. Paid quite a bit of money for it, but I don't want to say how much, but I did find it a little bit expensive, at least from my perspective. Not too expensive, really, being a hardcover book. Uh, so I wasn't really sure I wanted to get it for that price, and just wait for the paperback soft cover. But I said to myself, nah, it's a first edition, might as well get it. So yep, first edition. And as much as what I've read about it, the reviews and other commentary, I'll judge this for myself after read. And even if it's a, a first draft of what will become To Kill a Mockingbird, I mean, I know this was rejected originally, um, and there's some comments about it just being, shameless profiteering over the writer and the legacy of Mockingbird. Um, as a creative person, as a writer, I definitely love reading these sort of uh, works in progress. There's like the original version of The Thin Man by Dashiell Hammett that he never finished and rewrote the whole thing. So um, this might be an interesting read just on the creative process of a writer. So yep, that's it. Sorry, almost 40 minutes. But yeah, pretty big pot had here. So until next time, the drill. Keep smiling.